Welcome back to the KIX 96.5 Morning Show. We love featuring artists you should know about on the show, and today we're heading to the UK to chat with singer-songwriter Pete Colorado. Pete was inspired by an Elvis movie when he was a kid. He loves songwriting. His latest single, Back at My Side, is back for another ride. We're excited to have Pete Colorado on the show. First, Pete, thanks so much for coming on.
Jeff, thank you very much for inviting me on. It's an absolute honor to be on your show.
Yeah, we're on Zoom. I'm glad we could do it because like a week ago or something, you said you were having internet issues. What happened?
Well, my router went down. I didn't know what it was. It was something pretty new to me. My router went down, and I was trying to figure it out for about a day, and I didn't realize it. So I got back in touch with the broadband company, and they did everything. They even sent a guy around to try and get it all working together, but they said no. They sent me a router. I tried that one. It was faulty. And so in the end, it actually took me about 3 weeks to get back on. So it was a technical glitch. Yeah. And when I finally did get back on the internet, I had hundreds of bloody emails to actually follow through. So I was really worried about it, Jeff, because I had you in the line, and I had some other people in line as well. And I thought, Christ, you must be thinking pretty bad of me not to get back in touch with you, But I'm back on here, so
yeah, it's worked out, so that's good. Yeah, it's great when it works. It's hell when technology doesn't work.
Yeah, I know. The thing is, we've come to rely on the internet so much. Without the internet, you can't access your emails or anything like that. So it was a bad time for me.
It's crazy. Well, your album Faith and Imagination. When did this come out, Pete? Was this in 2013?
About 2014. It's actually a self-released album, Jeff. The thing is, with what I'm so proud about with Faith and Imagination is I took, as a songwriter, you try and grab a studio when you can. So, as you know, with songwriters and musicians, every studio, your sound is different.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes you can get a pretty polished song done, and other times they'll be very, very good, but they'll sound very raw. And this is what I like about Faith and Imagination. So anybody listening to it, you're going to find some tracks which are really raw, but they're real, And then there are some other which I've done in some other studios, which are pretty polished.
Yeah.
So on the whole, it's a pretty mixed bag. And being a songwriter, I don't specialize in one particular genre. If I like a genre, I'll go for it. I'll have a go at it. The only thing I don't do is rap, because I can't understand the street rap. I try to listen to the guys in New York and LA and Miami and whatever, but I can't understand what they're saying. So it just sounds very aggressive to me, and I'm not into that sort of aggressiveness. There's enough aggression around the world anyway, so I don't have to be spinning it, on a track or something. And you don't have to. Actually, if you do that, you're preaching to the converted, aren't you? People know all about it. They know what's happening on the street. Why ram it down their bloody throats? Yeah. I don't agree with that.
For sure. Well, and you mentioned it. The album is a mixed bag. It's all over the place. There's a song on there that gained some traction and was actually re-released for an album for the Ogoni or say it.
No, the Ogoni people.
Yeah, the Ogoni people. Come On World. Well, this song was originally recorded and put on the album and then went on this album for the Ogoni people. But who did you work with on Come On World? Because this is like a reggae song.
It is. It is a type of song. Well, the thing is that this song has got a massive history about it, Jeff. If you want, I'll tell you a little bit about it. How I actually came to it.
Sure.
I was actually, I knew a girl in London, in Beckenham, someplace, and I was on my way back, and I knew I had to cut past the place. So I did on my way back from work in the evening, and I gotten there just as she was getting back. And while she was having a clean up, she was having a shower and whatever, I saw this magazine on the coffee table. It was a Marie Claire magazine. So I'm pretty partial. I'll just look at any kind of magazine, whether they're Ogoni magazines or not. So I was flicking through this magazine, and I came across this one-page article about the Ogoni people. I had never heard of the Ogoni people, didn't even know where Ogoni land was. So I saw this page, and I read it out, and I looked on the flip side of it. It had a perfume advert, and I thought, well, she ain't going to miss this. So I ripped it out, put it in my pocket, and I thought, I'll check this out later. And when I got home, I was actually doing a course in refrigeration and air conditioning at the time. So the following morning, when I got to work pretty early, we were in the canteen. This guy was sitting opposite me. He was a guy I knew he was an African guy, and he was sitting opposite me. And I said, "Hey," I said, "I found a very, very interesting article about the Ogoni people." And he looked at me, and I said, "Yeah." I said, "What do you know about him?" So he said, "I'm one of these people." And of course, I went through the yeah sort of way. I just believed him. I didn't believe him at all. So I was telling him about the little article that I'd read. And I said, "It's really, really interesting." I said, "But what's been going down in Nigeria?" I said, "It's very, very bad." I said, "And the Brits were there." I said, "When Nigeria was under British rule," I said, "the British just allowed the three sort of groups, the three leading tribes, to run the country as they were doing before. So the Brits never got involved in it. They just let them carry on." Well, what actually happened was Dutch Shell Oil got a contract to dig for oil. And it so happens that when they started digging for oil, it was right in the heart of the Ogoni land. Now, this oil-rich delta region falls right in Ogoni land. Ogoni land is only 240 square kilometers. And it's an agricultural place. These people, they have two fishing lakes. So quite basically, the people are either farmers or they're fishermen, So I was reading through this, and he looked at me, and his eyes started swelling. So I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "I'm one of these people." And so he said to me, he said, "Look," he said, "I've got a couple of videos." He said, "Would you like to have a look at them?" Now, these videos, in those days, you remember, we used to have these VHS videos, didn't we?
Yeah.
These tapes. So he brought in a couple of tapes on a Friday, and he gave them to me. And on the Saturday morning, we're sort of going to town, shopping around, food shopping or anything, I decided to watch these videos. Well, I ended up watching 5 hours of documentary, Jeff. And what actually unfolded in front of me, I could not believe it. Dutch Shell Oil put all their pipes above ground, okay? There were oil leaks all over the place. There were 24/7 flares. Apparently, the guys were saying, the people in Nigeria were saying, you couldn't see the sun. It was so black. People were suffering with breathing problems. Kids were falling sick. There were 6 centimeters of oil across the top of the actual fishing lakes, which killed all the fish. So that ruined their livelihood for a start. The agricultural land, which was completely one of the richest agricultural land you could probably find in Nigeria, maybe in the world even, that was completely devastated with oil. Okay, they took the pipes and they ran them through the villages and everything else. And they just seemed to do what they liked. As a songwriter, I've never been involved in anything political. I didn't believe I had a right to do it. I wrote the song Common World, and I entered it into the International Uni Song Competition in America. Now, I only entered it in. It was pretty rough, the demo. About 3 months later or something, I got a certificate, and it said that it had helped raise $15,000 for Amnesty International. So I thought, well, this is great. I wasn't expecting anything like this. I just did it for world awareness. So the following year, I repeated it, and the same thing happened. And I thought, okay, this is really great. And then about a couple of years ago, I think 2021, I got an email from a guy that I know. And he said to me, listen, there's this guy who's looking for some songs to put on an album, a charity album, and it's going to be released on Spotify. So just for the heck of it, I thought, in the meantime, I had done Common World, which is on the actual Faith and Imagination album, but it's not as good, it's not as polished as it is now. So I redid it, and I got it really ready, and I sent it in. Now, there were songs being sent in for this album from all over the world, and I didn't think I'd get lucky or anything like that. And about this was in sort of the October of 21. Come just before Christmas, I got an email from Alexander Ethel Newbury, and he said, by the way, we've selected your song for the album. And I thought that was great. And it was going to be released in May, on the 19th of May, which happens to be my birthday. So I thought, well, this is great. This is a sign. Well, it was released, and about a couple of months later, in July, he sent me another email, and he said to me, he said, have you seen the stats? So I said, what stats? He said to me, he said, your song has smashed the album. I thought, smashed the album. I thought, have I ruined it? I hadn't heard this terminology about smashed or anything like that, So anyway, so I said, what exactly do you mean? So he said, you have gained more streams than any other song on the Numberella charity album 2022 than any other artist. So I went and looked at it, and he said you were getting something like 1,500 streams a week. I couldn't believe it.
If you can go check it out. Go to YouTube, type in Pete Colorado, Come On World, and you can see the couple different versions of it there. You can also check out Pete. He's on Spotify. Just go look up Pete Colorado, and you can listen to Faith and Imagination right there. Well, Back at My Side. So this is your current song that you're pushing. This song was first released by George Williams on his Shades album. When was this, Pete? Was this like in 1994?
It was, yes, it was. Well, I found an advert. It's long gone now, but I found an advert. There was a guy called Mike Leahy, who was a music sort of journalist, and he was looking for songs. And he said, because he was going over to Belgium, he said there were a lot of guys like Rufus Thomas, Scarlett Thomas, and all these sort of American artists, soul artists, and they were going to be in Belgium, and they were looking for songs. He said, and I'm looking for songs to take over. So I sent him Back at My Side, and I sent him You've Got Me, a couple of other tracks. He sent me, it actually wrote to me, because I don't think there were computers in those days, whatever. I certainly didn't have one, because I'm not very I'm not very IT, if you know what I mean. And well, anyway, Mike wrote to me, and he said, by the way, he said, I really, really like your song, Back at My Side. He said, no BS. He said, I'm going to try and push it. And I said, look, if you don't do something with my track, I'm going to start pulling all these songs back. And they had taken about 12 songs of mine. So then they sent, all of a sudden through the post, this George Williams CD turned up. His Shades album turned up, and with my song on it. So that was obviously to keep me quiet. But I looked at this and I thought, I wonder if I'll ever get a chance at this.
You even did Back at My Side because there's a music video you did like in 2008 for it.
Yeah, but how come, Jeff, you are surprising me no end. All this information you're coming up with. I had no idea that you knew about all this. But that was only a demo. It only cost me £1,000, so I was a working lad. And I saw this and I thought, at that particular time, I thought, well, record companies keep asking for material and stuff like this. And I thought, I'll try and go one better than that. I'll make a demo. I'll make a sort of a video demo. So if they want to hear the song, I'll just take them the VHS. So that's what I was doing. But I had no luck with that at all. But anyway, so I went down to Andy Whitmore and I said to Andy, I said, look, I got to do this song really well. I said, so, give me a chance at it.
Well, and the old video back in 2008, the song's like 4 minutes something, and then the current version's 5:06. So you've obviously redone it, and then it was on the Faith and Imagination. It's like the 5:06 version. But, and you wrote it. I mean, it's your song. Yeah. So, you probably do whatever you want to do with it. But
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's great. Well, and now you're getting some love from country stations.
Yes, I'll send you something because Caden sent me something and they placed me at number 7 in the country charts.
Yeah.
And I thought, how is this happening? I don't see this. I don't see myself as a country artist. I'm not a country artist, Jeff. I mean, if you hear Faith and Imagination, it'll tell you everything about me.
Yeah, no, there's no other country sound at all.
Yeah, it's not a country song, but I know that country songs do break into the pop charts.
Oh, yeah. Go check out Pete. He's at Pete Colorado. Go to Spotify. You can listen to his stuff. If you go to YouTube and, you type in the track names, Back at My Side, you can listen to both versions. You can also see the old music video on there, too. But what are you going to do about social media, Pete? You got to get something so you're online.
I used to have CD Baby made me a website. And the thing is, the website was doing really, really well. And then all of a sudden, I started getting all this foreign writing on it, Jeff. It looked like Russian, or it could have been Russian, it could have been Turkish, it could have been Greek, it could have been anything. But my site was full of it. And I couldn't understand a word of it. I don't speak all these foreign languages. And I thought, well, where the hell is this all coming from? And I was assuming bad things were happening. So I got in touch with CD Baby and I said, look, I can't be carrying on with this website anymore. And so I just, I stopped contributing to it. I had everything there. Everything was there. And, but because of this, I thought maybe people could have been selling drugs on my site. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just assumed the worst part of it. And I thought, no, I can't be doing with this. So this is going to go. And I never bothered with a website after that. Because
you mentioned this is just promotion. So are we going to release the single, or what's going to happen next?
I'm thinking of, depending on how well it do, because I've got a lot of different people to actually speak to. I've got one on Friday because I want America to know who Pete Colorado is.
Exactly. Well, you got the perfect name, Pete. Have you been to Colorado?
Yes, Colorado's not my real name, Jeff. I'll let you into it.
Well, I know that. I figured that. But have you been to the States?
I've been to the States about 5 times. I used to belong to Taxi, the international independent. It's an online independent company. Huh. It's run by Michael Lasko. You must have heard of him. Yeah, Taxi. And I went over to the States about I think I've done about the States about maybe 5 times. And I've met Steve Seskin, his name is. If he's a country songwriter, and he's like royalty in Nashville, I believe. And he was asking me things like, where are you at? So I said, what do you mean, where am I at? He said, what level are you sort of on your road to music? So I said, look, I'm only starting out. So what I loved about these guys was they were all very, very helpful. They would tell you things, they would tell you what to do, tell you what not to do. They would keep building you up, keep telling you just got to keep on the road no matter what happens. Just because you get rejected, it doesn't mean to say your song's bad. You just got to go with it. You just got to keep writing the songs and pushing them out and pushing them out and pushing them out. He said, you will get a song. He said, something will happen. He said, something really wonderful will happen. Don't ever get put off by somebody saying they don't like your song.
Yeah.
Because you're a songwriter and you have to believe in what you do. And if you believe in what you do, it'll happen for you.
Go and support Pete. Go check him out. He's on Spotify, Pete Colorado. Also go to YouTube, watch his videos, and go and listen to Faith and Imagination, his album that is out now. And you can check out both the tracks, Come On World and Back at My Side, right on there. Well, Pete, thanks so much for coming on.
Jeff, it's been an absolute blast speaking to you. But thank you very much. Have a nice day to all your listeners. And hopefully you'd like Back at My Side. And please, by all means, check it out.
Here it is, Back at My Side. It's Pete Colorado. It's KIX 96.5.